was the field organizer out here in Rochester area, Michigan last year for summer fall for the main election. And I guess I'm sitting here today with Bruce Fealk because he's running to have a Netroots Nation scholarship. And I think it's an awesome idea. I really hope you guys support him. When I first touched down here in Rochester last July, there are a lot of people who told me just on the street, you should go see Bruce Fealk. So I heeded their words. I went up there, I went to his house, and lo and behold, very quickly I realized that this is a really special guy here. He's a very special activist who really helped me kind of convince this 60-40 community, the 60-40 Republican community, that there are Democrats here, there's a progressive feeling here, and helped me cultivate a campaign that ended up helping us basically tie this area for Barack Obama. So I know Liz here, this is the first time I'm meeting her today, but I know that she's known Bruce for a much longer time than I have. And Liz, like, how have you worked with Bruce?
Well, my name's Elizabeth Sadowski. I'm a local attorney. I'm a member of the American Constitution Society, which you probably know is the counterpart to the Federalist Society. I've known Bruce now for about 4 years by becoming active in our local Oakland County, Michigan Democratic Party. I can tell you Bruce is a force of nature. Were it not for Bruce, we simply would never have had in this community the kind of information and power. Power is information. It's through Bruce that so many people have become part of the Democratic Party and have actually stood up and taken notice of progressive ideas. Bruce is the one who has worked tirelessly in this community and in this campaign, not only in the Obama campaign, but even in the local politics. We now have Gary Peters as our United States Congressman, and in no small part thanks to Bruce. Bruce is the one who runs the blog, a terrific blog, who sends out information every day from sources I would never independently have known to access. But because I have his blog to look at in the morning, I know things, and so do so many other people in our community. We did a very interesting thing in our Oakland County Democrats this past campaign year. We instituted something called On the Road. This was a grassroots enterprise where we would set up a booth in local communities and fairs and community outings. And we would go to Republican enclaves, places where people never even thought that Democrats existed. Bruce was there every time, out there, in the crowd, working the crowd. I was there part of the time, and I watched him talk to people and bring them over. And how many times, Bruce, did people say, I thought I was the only Democrat here?
I had it happen here in my own community. I remember when, during the Kerry campaign, people came up to my house because I had my lawn signs out, and people would come up and, it would be the only Democratic lawn sign in the neighborhood.
We really did work very hard, all of us, but Bruce in particular has always been at the forefront in this campaign, and he continues to be. He's part of the media. He has not only does he have his blog on the internet, but he's also very active in our Oakland County newspaper. We have the Oakland County Press, which is right now the only daily newspaper that we have here anymore, because the Detroit Free Press and the Detroit News no longer have daily publications. This is important. People in the community need to know what's going on. They need to open that paper and read about the local politics. Bruce's page in the local in our Oakland politics has been dynamic, and you can tell by the comments that readers say. They're not always friendly, but by golly, he's got people interested in what's going on. You want to tell him something about your Oakland Press participation?
Yeah. Well, I started writing letters to the editor. I even became a citizen journalist because they're trying to save money. They recruited a few citizen journalists. I got one of my stories published. Then they asked me to have a regular blog, from the left, which is on the Oakland Press website. They have an from the right. I'm from the left, and it's gotten quite a bit of activity lately. It's only been active for maybe 2 months, but it's starting to pick up. And I think the activity I'm most proud of is my efforts to defeat Congressman Joe Nolenberg. He was an 8-term incumbent Republican, and partially because of my efforts. I know that once Gary Peters got in the race, he got in the race in August of 2007, and the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee took a poll in October. So Gary had only been in the race, and he was basically fundraising at that time. And Joe Nolenberg's approval rating was down to 33 or 35%.
It was low.
And I know that that was large part due to my efforts and some of my friends, because we were protesting, we were blogging, we were getting in the media, we were exposing Joe Nolenberg's terrible voting record. And then in October of 2007, I got a tip that Joe was campaigning with his staff in town here in a local drugstore, and I got to confront Joe about his votes on S-chip, about his continuous votes on the war to keep the war in Iraq going. And his chief of staff actually got in my face, and I kept the confrontation going, and that confrontation actually ended up on the Keith Olbermann show. And if you look in the left-hand column of this bio page, you'll actually see the video that was on the Keith Olbermann show. They did a full 8-minute segment about my confrontation with Joe Nolenberg, and I know that my efforts to expose his record, on his voting record, which a lot of Americans obviously don't follow their congressman's voting record on issues. They just look at some of the projects they bring home. But I was able to expose Joe's voting record on health care, on the war, and other issues. Women's equality in pay, that was another vote. He voted against equality for women in pay equity. So those were some very important issues in this last campaign, and I take some credit. Gary Peters did a great job. He raised a lot of money. Obviously he did what he had to do, but he had a whole effort, and I feel like I spearheaded some of the counter-campaign, we called it, against him. So it was a great campaign season, and I really would appreciate your vote. I know that by attending Netroots Nation, I feel like as good an activist as I am, I can become an even better activist by being able to interact with all the people that will be at Netroots Nation this August. So I would really appreciate your support. Thanks a lot.